Hello and welcome to Hank Games without Hank. It is a rainy day in England, amazingly. And we have voluptuous Pericard up front with bald John Green today. Other John Green, he's tired. He needed a rest day. And my assistant coach was like, seriously, if you keep playing other John Green, he's going to get injured. And that would be devastating because the romance, both literal and figurative, up front for the Swoodly Poopers is a huge part of our club's success. So, today I'm going to talk to you about Henry and when he was born. It's funny to think about that now because now he's such like a big, smart, fascinating kid. And then, of course, when people are born, they're just like lumps. But at the time, beautiful lumps. Bald John Green, he's a finisher. Oh, look at that, wearing the captain's armband, celebrating with voluptuous Pericard. Alice Pericard's in the audience today, here rooting for the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers in the rain with their kids. Pretty great to see. It's a great day for voluptuous. Hopefully he'll get a goal. So, we knew that Sarah was pregnant, obviously. It wasn't like one of those TLC shows like, where'd my baby come from? So it was something that we were expecting. And something that we'd wanted to happen for a while. So, but on the day in question, we dropped Willie off at the groomer because we decided we wanted him to get bald John Green. He's a finisher. Wow. This may be the FIFA momentum thingy at work because the morale of Ipswich seems to have been devastated. Look at that beautiful mustache. My Lord. Other John Green's on the bench right now, just itching to get in the game, but not going to happen. He's got to have a rest. So we knew it was going to happen because we knew. I mean, she was scheduled to get induced like 2 days later, so we really knew it was going to happen. That's why we wanted to get Willie into the groomer. So we dropped Willie off at the groomer, and then we were going to go pick up some stuff at Trader Joe's at like a grocery store. And Sarah was like, she said, "I feel funny." And I was like, well, that probably means that you're in labor. And she said, no. I said, well, I mean, you're 41 weeks pregnant. You're probably in labor if you feel funny. She was like, nah, let's just go home for a while. And then she started having contractions that were like 7 minutes apart. But they make a big deal about how you don't want to get to the, you don't want to get to the hospital too early because most people, I mean, my wife is really hardcore and like super tough. And that's not to take anything away from people who are, oh, voluptuous Pericard. He's just desperate to get a goal in front of his family today, and he shot a little too early. Let's not take anything away from, people who are like that, but my wife is super, super tough, and so she's not the kind of person you need to say, oh, you need to wait until this or this or this to go to the hospital because, they're worried about people getting to the hospital too soon, and then they have to spend, 40 hours in labor and yada, yada, yada. But, that's not Sarah. That just wasn't a concern. So in the end, if anything, we went to the hospital too late, and they were like, okay, yeah, you should definitely be here. But we went to the hospital and settled in, and we watched a little bit of a movie. We had this big plan that we were gonna watch movies and hang out, and it turns out that it's extremely stressful to have a baby. It's not something you really want to watch a romantic comedy while you're doing. It's stressful on a lot of levels, but mainly, for Sarah because it's it is the hardest core thing I have ever seen anyone do, and you just admire anyone who can watch their spouse have a baby and not admire her for the rest of their lives. I don't know. I mean, it's amazing. I could never do it. Oh, voluptuous Pericard off the post. And when I say I could never do it, I don't just mean because I don't have the organs involved. I mean, I think I would be too afraid to attempt to give birth. I think I would live a celibate life out of fear of becoming pregnant and then having to give birth. That's how hardcore it is. But that said, in some ways, it was also really, really relaxing because we had a really great doctor, and he was there the whole time, and he's just a really friendly guy. And I found out while Sarah was in labor that his wife and I had gone to college together. Oh, fat Lucas, you always know how to stop him on the breakaways, and that's why I love you, Fat Lucas. Um, so I found out that his wife and I had gone to college together, and so he and I were just talking about college and like, oh, what do you remember what dorm she lived in, and did you ever visit her there? And oh, I probably saw you on campus, like we probably went to some of the same parties. And my wife was like, guys, seriously, this is ridiculous. I'm giving birth to a human being, like with a soul and consciousness. Can we pay attention to that, maybe? But anyway, she pushed. Baby came out. I was really scared, to be honest, because I'm a frightened, anxious person. And the whole situation was just so like, overwhelming and emotional that I was really scared. But when Henry was born, I just, I mean, I was still really worried, and I remember like they had to take him away for a few minutes to like check and make sure everything was okay, and they had him like over in the corner of the room, and there's this big team of people like working on him and everything, and I was just like, oh, and no one was saying anything, and like he wasn't really crying, and finally I was like, is everything okay? And they were like, yeah, he's fine. Don't freak out, man. And I was like, well, it's my kid. It's my first. I've never done this before. This is not. But guess who just tackled and stole the ball? By the way, one size fits all. Then he shot because he has courage. It wasn't a great shot, but I like his ambition. Anyway, it was real. I mean, obviously, hugely emotional moment. Like, really magical moment and I mean definitely one of the best moments of my life. Yes, finally! Voluptuous Pericard gets his goal in front of Alice and the kids. How awesome is that? You can tell, by the way, that Ball John Green definitely was working hard to set him up there. He got the keeper all the way out, made sure that Voluptuous Pericard had a whole goal to shoot at, and then Pericard, he ain't gonna miss from there. Great work by Mr. Voluptuous. We love you. So it was really like an amazing moment. But then like, you know, it was also 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd never been that tired, emotionally exhausted, and Sarah was obviously both emotionally and physically exhausted, and I couldn't believe that my amazing wife had done this. Like, just I cannot emphasize enough how hard it seemed, like how badass it seemed, you know, like it just seemed really, really badass to me. And then it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we like took him up to the hospital room and stayed up with him for a while. And I remember we ordered, like, you can order 24-hour room service after you have a baby, because I don't know why, but it's like a cool feature of having a baby, is that in the hospital, honestly, was like a really nice hotel. And for some reason, we had a suite, which meant like I had my own room and Sarah had her own room where she could like be in a narcotic haze, and then I could be in the other room like with the baby. I remember I watched golf that weekend. Like my friend Chris and I spent a lot of time watching golf, and with the baby sitting, like sitting on my chest. And it's just completely surreal though to like suddenly have this creature who's yours. Is that Chris? Oh, hey, Tracy. No, you're not interrupting at all. You want to come help narrate? She said, no, that's all right. We just got a package here at Vlog Brothers headquarters. I should say our East Coast headquarters. Of course, our West Coast headquarters are in Missoula, Montana. So, but like, to have this, it was very, I mean, I realize that this is an obvious thing to say, but like, it was very strange to have this creature who was suddenly alive, where he had not been alive before. Like where he had not had like a life of his own before, and now he suddenly did. It was really, really surreal. And that was kind of my primary thought at the time, was I would just like hold this guy, and he had so much hair. You know, when he was a baby, he looked like a little man, like a very, very, like a 7-pound man. And it was just, the whole thing was so strange. and so like emotionally overwhelming. But on some level, like when they're born, they are obviously they're people, but like they also aren't, like because they haven't yet established themselves. Like certainly now, I feel so much like closer to Henry, and like my relationship with Henry is so much more interesting and complicated than it was then when he was just like, I will cry when I am hungry, and at other times I will not cry. And that was pretty much like the way he expressed himself. And now he can be like, hey, where are you going, Dad? And I'll be like, just going into the other room. Do you want to come? And he'll be like, okay. He says that all the time now. Okay. And then he'll, don't give me a card. Oh, that is too, what, the color of that card is inappropriate. Come on, S. Morrison's he's just running around in circles. That was seeing that replay was a real wake-up call about my total lack of FIFA quality. But I will remind you that the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers are up 3-0, and Voluptuous Pericard has scored. Wow, that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. And that was the last kick of the game. So we do get a red card, but Ball John Green got 2 goals. He set up Voluptuous Pericard for the 3rd goal so that Voluptuous could score in front of Alice and the kids who are here at the game today. So proud of the boys. Beautiful mustache. Oh, Ball John Green, look at your mustache. That's why I'll never upgrade to FIFA 12. Thanks for listening. I will see you. God, I won't see you. Best wishes.